Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students, and I am your teacher Mohammed Zubair Shahbaz. Today we are going to see our next poem, that is Tartary. Tartary is basically a poem that is based on some imagination. This poem is a fantasy. A person who wants to lead his life with the help in his imagination. The basic purpose of this poem is that if a person survives in the society in a very hard time, he faces a very hard time, then he will be capable to lead his own life with the help of his imagination. Imagination in this poem plays a very important role, obviously, and this is the very word in which the person is all in all. He is a king, he is a lord, whatsoever he can understand himself. That is why there is no harm in his life. How and just like we see that according to his own plans and his desires, he can lead his life with the help in his imagination in this particular world. This poem is written by the writer. On the other hand, the writer wants to tell a message, gives a message to the reader that if the life is very tough, full of worries, tensions, then there is no need to be just like a very to become very tense. Why? Because there is a world in which a person can live his own life, he can enjoy his own desires, he can get whatsoever he wants or whatsoever he desires. There will be no any harm. The world is entirely different from the real world. So this is the message that the writer, the poet, gives to the reader as well. Now we see that what is this poem? This poem, as we see that, is based on some imagination, based on some fantasy, that there is a world somewhere, obviously might be somewhere, that may be fallen in somewhere in the world at some place, but not exactly where it is. Anyhow, in this poem the poet says that the life of the Tartary is entirely different. This life is full of happiness, full of enjoyment, everything is fresh. There is no worry, no tension, no problem. And the thing is this, the main thing is that even the atmosphere is under the person's own control. I mean to say that he is a lord of all that things, including mountains, waters, birds, lakes, snows, even canopies, just like rivers, seas, birds, animals, etc. The poet tells us about the Tartary is that if he would the lord of that world, the Tartary, his bed would be of ivory, would be made of ivory. Ivory is obviously basically, as we all know, that the teeth of an elephant. Obviously it is a very costly thing, costly item. Then his bed would be made of ivory, obviously, and as well as his coat would have been decorated according to his own desires. Peacocks would be there. There would be very huge holes into his coat in his palace, where different kind of fish would slant there, and these fish would have been entirely different from the real world. Why? Because whenever sun pours down its rays on the fish, their skin would reflect some just like a rainbow colors, entirely different. The color that would not be possible would have been fallen into the real world as well. Then we see him that in the evening, obviously, the lamps of his court, and as well as his world, his cities, his country, or his state, obviously, would lighted be differently. Like the flame that would be yellow as honey, and as well as and red as wine, like entirely that show entirely a different thing, different color combination. And as well as whenever he would have called for his dinner, his breakfast or his lunch, etc., musicians play different kind of music, a soft music, a beautiful music with the harps, with the flute, with the mandolin, and etc. as well. Obviously, in that condition, the poet, the king, would decide that his life is entirely different from a person, every person, obviously in the real world, lord or the kings as well. Then we find him that we find him desiring that if he would be the lord of the Tartary, then he would get up early in the morning. Even the last star would shine at that time, being the before the sunrise, obviously. Then he would go into his states to make an investigation, just like I mean to see his beautiful areas as well. And one of the important thing is that he obviously in natural in real life, the buggies of the kings and the queens and the other, just like peers and as well as important personalities, VIP personalities, are driven by the horses, just like, but his buggy would have been driven by the zebras. Obviously, that is a very important thing, that is important desire that he makes it. And then he further makes a desire to visit his jungles, where he could see the lions making huge noises, but to identify him that they are present there, and obviously everything is okay and they are happy. And then in the end of the poem, we find that the poem desires that all the things that are prevailing in his state, he is a lord of them, all of them, including air, mountain, ocean, lakes, birds, animals, states, just like plain areas, each and everything would be his. He would be the lord of all of them. From there, I do hope that you must have understood this lectures or arts today, and I do hope that you must have cleared all the important points as far as this poem is concerned. And one thing is that this poem is among the such poems that can confuse the students at any time, especially in the examination. I must say that you must have a clear idea about this poem into your mind. If you find any kind of a problem, don't consider that this is not to be learned. No, this poem is one of such poems that can harm any students anytime or any day, especially in any paper as well, examination point of view I'm talking about. So I further says that if you find any problem, you may give me your queries, your questions, and for that you have to like my channel and as well as subscribe my channel for further syllabus or further topics as well. From here, now I'm saying goodbye to you, all of you, and then see you in next lecture. Thank you very much.